Wow, you're a mum with a side hustle and you know social media is free marketing, but let's be real, it can be really overwhelming. Where should you post? How often? And what should you even be posting? This year, I've been learning alongside a group of amazing women, and I'm here to share our journey as we go on this learning together. So, how do you know where your audience is hanging out? Is your profile set up to attract the right people? And how can you make content easier without burning out? If these questions have been on your mind too, then I want you to stick around. Let's figure this out together. So, welcome everyone to our Mum with a Side Hustle live call today. It's so cool to have you here. Cool to have my friends Lisa and Karen joining us live. And if you are, yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for being live because I know that this is recorded and other people are seeing your faces. So I'm really thankful that you guys are here with us. I'm just going to check that we are live on Facebook. Yeah, we've got our timer going and my recording is going. Cool. So we're good. Yeah, so some people might be catching this later on a replay on Facebook, or I've started a YouTube channel, which is kind of exciting. So please drop a comment that you're here for the replay. Just write replay or drop your business details in the comments because people are watching this and it's a really cool way to share your business. And yeah, and if you're on YouTube, why don't you hit subscribe because you'll get notified. And then the more people who we've got a few more people coming in. The more people who subscribe, the more that YouTube uses the algorithm to share it with others. And so, yeah, the more that we can get people leaving comments and letting us know what they're thinking about the calls, the more I can shape the content so it works really well. For everybody. So yeah, it's so great to have you all here and thank you. We have a few more people in our Zoom room. I want to introduce Pam here and then my friend Rita. These are some of the mums who are doing this we're calling it Build a Personal Brand in a Year in under 3 hours a week. So yeah, these are some of the amazing mums doing that. And yeah, I really champion you guys. Thank you for joining us. But if you want to join us in the Zoom room, you don't need to be doing the challenge with us. You can just join in and share your opinion or some thoughts or some learnings that you have. We always love to have everyone, we love to have new people just bringing something that they have. So before we get started, I thought it'd be really cool to hear if anyone has something to share in the Zoom room. Any highlights from the last few weeks, any moves you've made that you're proud of? I have some specific questions, but if anyone's got anything on the top of their head that they would love to share, now is the right time. It's like a race, like who's going to unmute and who's going to disappear because they don't want to share. Everyone's eating lunch. Okay, I'll put a question out there. So, has anyone thought about what you decided you want to be known for? Because that was one of the things that we have been learning about. Or maybe you thought about who your ideal audience was and who you want to help. Or maybe you wrote like a story, an about me story. So I actually did this week. I wrote an about me post and we had a really great guide of how to do that. So you can go back and check out the call where we did that. And I turned that into a Facebook post, but you could also use it on your website. And Lisa was sharing that that was something she was thinking about doing, just checking that her website and her about her profile was updated with that. So cool. Well, we'll keep going. I'll let you guys eat your lunch and do the things you're doing. So this week, we're going to be diving into this whole question around what and how often and where we're going to post. And it's a really important part of our strategy because we need to know what we're going to plan to do. But I want to be honest with everyone. I definitely feel further behind than I want to be bringing together this challenge. So I love this content and it has just taught me so much, but I know that I definitely am not the example to follow yet. I am how could I put this? I am the person who's courageously turning up and wanting to be bold and invite others along on that journey. So that's what I want to say about where I am. Um, you know, if you feel like you're following this journey and you're missing pieces of the puzzle, like for your personal brand, can I just encourage you, instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, when you drop the ball or something keeps going, just keep showing up. Like for me, last week it was my son's birthday, and as birthdays do, it meant like organizing, pouring out love on him, shifting my energy away from this place. And I know I'm definitely not alone. Who wants to give me a thumbs up? That is something that definitely happens a lot. And, we don't want to be running a business that takes away from the joy that we have in our parenting. We want the two to complement each other. So there's going to be these times where it fluxes and the energy goes in that direction. So, but how do we keep pulling the energy back in the direction that we want it to go so that we are enjoying running our business and it's fueling us for in our parenting, going back and feeling fresh and feeling like I've just done something outside of my world of parenting and now I'm excited about going back to see my kids. I know after these calls, I always feel real pumped to go and see my kids because I've just like poured my heart into something that I really love. So yeah, let me encourage you. One of your superpowers as a mum is resilience. Bringing up children has taught you this, recovering from childbirth, going through pregnancy, having to keep showing up. I don't know how you can get through that part of life without resilience. Is that something that you guys can relate to? Like you've definitely learnt over the time of having children that you have a lot of strength inside of you to keep going. And all of us mums right here have more than one child. So we've had to do it more than once. I know it was a massive learning curve with me with Tate. So yeah, I just want to say like every distraction, every setback can be a good thing, because it can help you remember to like just bounce back, come back, and you haven't lost your progress. You do just need to find your momentum again. And I was thinking, it's better to slow down than to stop, right? It's better just to slow down, bring down the intensity if you need to, rather than stop. So, this week, champion yourself, be your biggest encourager. Right before this call, I was imagining some people in my past who I really admire texting me and be like, Alicia, your call's going to be great today. Or my husband, like bringing back words to my mind of like what he'd said to me because I just needed yeah, I just needed that little piece of encouragement, and maybe that's what you need too. So, champion yourself. Like, did you get one post done this week? Did you listen to a podcast that actually was kind of along the lines of business or something that was going to help you in some area of your life? Another step that you've made towards your goals. What have you shown up and done this week? So celebrate your gains rather than crying about, I'll be real, crying about where you've fallen short of your goal or your ideal. Yeah, want us all to celebrate. Pam, your little girl's looking so gorgeous there. Hi, Eden. And have you got Lily there as well? Can I
Yeah,
see another little
they're
hand?
both sick, so Lily's
Oh,
in the video.
hi,
That's
Lily. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, darling.
yeah, this one she had a fever. I've just given her some more chemo.
He has not. Eden has not.
Yes, she's not. That's right. And so do you have a wee bit too, don't you?
Yeah.
And this is exactly those moments, right? That we need to like take a deep breath. How did your recording go the other night?
I haven't started yet. I'm still just finished setting up the studio. Well, a little bit more to do in the studio, but it's almost done. But last night we kind of put the major things in the space and then just been editing the script, but it's almost finished. So
amazing. I so wish we were closer. I would totally come and record in your studio.
yeah. We've kind of put a bit of branding, very subtle branding in there, but yeah, well, maybe not that subtle. I don't know. You can tell me what you think.
Wait to see what you produced, Pam. That is so cool. Well done. That is
Yeah.
so cool. And maybe that's something that eventually you might write a post about in Mum with a Side Hustle. It could be something really inspiring for people. A few photos of like what you set up, the things you found. Like I reckon some people will really be blessed by that. Okay, so just chatting with you guys about staying resilient, and coming back. You didn't give up. I want you to encourage you. And I want to encourage you not to step away for too long. It's always harder to start again when you stop, but if you slow down rather than stop, then you've still got some momentum there. And if you're still feeling like you're running on empty, I do have one of my side hustles that might help you. So, for those days when you have broken sleep, mum brain, exhaustion, like they feel like they're pulling you under, even doing the easy tasks is really hard. These little amazing patches honestly have made this business so possible, the business of Mum with a Side Hustle. They honestly have given me natural, steady energy. I've got a clear head, and it actually has like lifted my mood. So if you're a mum and you're really finding that you're really running on low, this could be something that could really help you. So just popping that out there. If you're curious, pop me a message. I'll send you some info. But you deserve to feel the best while you're building something incredible. And I know that I've been using these patches for a whole year, and that's really what they've done for me. So we are week four of setting up on social media and other platforms. That's the goal this week. And so by the end of this week, you'll have chosen the best platform for your audience, optimizing your profile and setting up simple posting schedules that are going to fit in your 3 hour a week commitment. Because that's what we started off with by saying, is that we're going to commit to doing 3 hours a week. I'm just going to check. Oh, we've got Jade. She is watching us live. And Karen is watching us live on Facebook. So lovely to have you guys there. I'm in the waiting room. Are you, Jade? Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe you could try and come in again. It didn't show me that you were there. Oh, Karen wrote, I was thinking I would like to be the go-to person in New Zealand for teaching art online to kids once I get my online course created. That is cool. I love that. That is really awesome. Jade says, I'm totally agree, learning to slow down rather than stop. And she says she loves my calls. And Pam, she thought that your girls were super cute. So Jade, if you're still watching and you can try and make it back into the Zoom room, we would love to have you. Okay, I just need to get my screens back. Okay, nobody's waiting, so we'll just keep going. So you can, there's lots of different places, of course, that you can be engaging when you're building a personal brand. So you need to be choosing a platform that's sort of a mix of where your audience is and also where you naturally enjoy creating content, because there's no point, oh, here comes Jade. There's no point creating on platforms that you're not interested in. We do hear a lot about, oh, this one's blowing up, this one's working really well. Well, don't necessarily shy away from that, but if it's going to be a massive barrier to you getting going, why don't you stick with the platform that you're already using and that's working well for you? So what the suggestion is to look at your competitors. Where are other people in your niche active? So for me, trying to find mums who are doing business, I tried to follow, yay, you are here, yay, Jade. I've tried to follow some mums who are in business, and this is the suggestion, is to look at people who are going after the same niche as you, search for key influencers, see where they get engagement. And if they're getting like tons of comments on one versus the other, then maybe that's the direction you need to go in. And so what I did, and I want to encourage you, I know I've talked about this last week, is I used AI to help me figure out if my strategy is at the moment is working. So this is what I learned, right? So of course I'm mum with a side hustle. My target audience is mums who have children who want to have a side hustle. A lot of us are at home with kids or have small kids in that season. Some people are even, homeschooling. And so that's really the niche that I'm targeting. So I asked my ChatGPT friend, are mums engaging on these platforms? So the platforms that I've been engaging on for ages are Instagram and Facebook is the one that I've grown. And so ChatGPT told me, yes, these are huge for mums because they're social, visual, and community driven. And of course, that's why you guys showed up to this call, because you're community driven. You want to be doing this with others. And then it said Facebook groups in particular are gold for engagement. Well, tick for me because I have a Facebook group. And then I said, I want to build YouTube and podcasts. And what ChatGPT told me is these are great for deeper connections and authority building. Mums often listen to podcasts while multitasking and watch YouTube for learning. And so ChatGPT reckons my choices are both where mums are and what I naturally enjoy. So I've sort of found that balance. The second thing it asks me is, are you seeing engagement? So that's what you can ask yourself on the platforms that you're using. Am I seeing engagement? So even if you don't see influencers in your exact niche on your platform, ask yourself, are other, so for me, mum-focused accounts, or for you, it might be something else, getting likes, shares, comments on those platforms? You can ask yourself, do your posts get any engagement, even if it's small? And are people DMing you, so personal messaging you, commenting, or saving your content? And so this is always, I feel like I need to keep a record of it. I actually think the biggest amount of feedback I have is when I run into people and they tell me, oh, I've been following you, or I've noticed what you're doing, or I'll get messages, or I had a friend post the other day on her story and tag me that she'd started exercising because she was influenced by something that I'd shared about the exercising that I was doing. So that for me is feedback that people are watching, but they're not always engaging. So maybe I want to work on my strategy around getting more engagement and learn more about that. But yeah, I think I'm happy with the amount of engagement that I'm getting. So that's number 2. Are you seeing engagement on your platforms? And it says, if your audience is there, it's just a matter of refining your content, which is what I just sort of reflected on. And then number 3, do you enjoy creating for these platforms? So I mentioned that I enjoy using these platforms as a mum, and that's really important. So you're more likely to stay consistent if you're actually using the platform. And yeah, ChatGPT told me that based on what I'd shared, I'm probably in the right places, and that, you know, my long-term goal of working on YouTube and podcasting is a great direction to be going in. And it just suggested keep testing and adjusting based on engagement. So yeah, I guess like what I'm suggesting is take what you're already doing and get some feedback. So I've got some feedback from ChatGPT, for example, but you also want to be looking for feedback in other ways. So how often am I getting responses on my posts? Are people telling me that they're seeing it? I'm always curious, like the comments that I get, how much of the people who comment are in my niche? A lot of the time, the people who comment are not in my niche, but the people who message me are in my niche. So the market that I'm going for. And I don't know what that means. Maybe that's another thing I can ask my AI tool. But yeah, I find that really, really curious. So yeah, I'll just quickly give you some rundowns of what might be useful for you to know when you're thinking about which platforms to use. So here's a little bit of information about a few platforms, not all of them, because, you know, there's so many. I noticed that there's a new one. It's a little bit like Twitter, or Twitter's changed its name, hasn't it? But there's a new one that showed up on my Instagram. But anyway, here's some information about different platforms you might choose. So Instagram is best for visual content, so photos, infographics, and reels. LinkedIn is best for professionals, networking, and business-related topics. YouTube is best for long-form video content. And one of the suggestions is to have your video go over 8 minutes. I think I've gathered, I don't know for sure, but I've gathered from things I've listened to that allows for up to 2 ads to show up in your video. And that's part of the monetizing of your account. TikTok is best for short-form engaging videos and content. Facebook groups are best for community building and longer discussions. And Twitter, which is now named X, there we go, that's the new name, is best for quick updates and thought leadership. And you can't go past actually asking your audience, you know, and chatting to a few people, chatting to mums, like, oh, what do you use? I know a lot of mums actually use, not Twitter, TikTok, but I have done a little bit of TikTok, but I don't actually use it. So I'm not canceling it out, but I'm just saying in terms of like how much time I really have to master everything. I haven't spent time engaging with TikTok yet. So yeah, and the suggestion is to pick 1 to 2 platforms to focus on first. So I just have a question, and maybe Rita, you're the one to answer it because your camera is on and you're not eating anymore. But like, where have you chosen to show up on social media? And do you notice any patterns from those you follow in terms of how much engagement they get about where would be good for you to follow, like to show up? What's been your experience?
I am mostly Facebook and Instagram, mostly because those are the two that I've used. And I know that other SeneGence people are mostly on those two as well. Mhm.
And how do you feel like is your engagement going? Is it where you want it to be, or
Probably
what have you
not, but that's because I haven't put enough into it to actually get anything out of it yet.
Okay.
So
Yeah. And the engagement that like those in your group, I get like the people who you were mentioning before, how's their engagement going?
a bit variable, I think. There's one person I know who's really she does lots and lots of stuff on like most of them do lots of stuff on Instagram, and they mostly do lots of their I guess engagement comes from stories, like trying to do lots of short little stories each day. Like it's just that constant trying to get in front of people.
Cool. Jade's just saying Instagram and Facebook are mine, but I just share it over. Yeah, that's a great strategy, is to be able to share it from one to the other. What about you, Lisa? What are you noticing on social media? What have you chosen to do?
So yeah, I'm only just like Jade, I mainly just do Instagram, and then just, it automatically goes over to Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good point that you make, Alicia. Like I find, especially at the beginning where you said, don't give up, don't lose the momentum, because I definitely did that last year. And once you lose that momentum, it's actually really hard to overcome the inertia to get started again. That might not make sense. I think I've got all the physics wrong there, but you know what I mean.
No, it sounded pretty good.
Theoretical physics, eh?
But I noticed that like my content gets very little engagement because I've got such a small following. And how do I build that? That's kind of the $1 million question. But I do find that when I post things where my kids do baking, that always gets more people engaged. So I'm like, well, why don't I keep doing that? And I guess it's hard because that involves more work, because I've got to actually do baking with the kids.
I wonder how many different things you can make with your nut butters and baking with the kids.
Oh, like endless. It's so
Yeah.
endless. Yeah.
But maybe that's like a really amazing way to, because people are going to engage with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your comment, Jade. Absolutely, it does. And I want to be able to tell a story, because obviously with my product, it's a saturated market. And I've had friends tell me that all the time. Like, why on earth would you go into peanut butter when there's just, you go into any shop, food shop, and there's always going to be peanut butter. But, and I guess that's the finding my niche. No other peanut butter producers in New Zealand are raising their children on a farm where they're roasting and milling their nut butters on their farm with the animals and homeschooling. So there is a story to tell, but it's just, yeah, that's why I'm on this journey with you guys to sort that out.
I love that. It's beautiful richness you're bringing, and cool to hear your comment. And Jade, you commented, I'll just open the chat for a second. Where is the chat? Bring up the chat. Jade says, yes, photos or anything with my children always get more engagement. Absolutely. I actually had a post last week that got heaps of engagement that was around dreams. And I was interested because it wasn't a post with my kids in it. And I agree. Posts with my kids in it do quite well. Yeah. So cool. It's good to just discuss what people are doing. And I did see, actually, Jade, you made another comment. Where is it? That you really want to do YouTube Shorts and TikTok. And she also says, Lisa, you're probably not there, but she says she loves your story and I relate. I'd buy your nut butter over any others because of your story. And I do think that's the way the world is going, Jade. I think you've made a really great comment that, we know that the big companies have made a lot of money from us. And so if we can walk alongside and support other people that we can relate to with their businesses, then that I think is really attractive. yeah, once we can move away from things being about the bottom line, you know, like I've got to save heaps of money, but once we move out of that type of living, we can actually move into, I'm choosing to buy nut butter from someone who I know, or for me, I'm choosing to buy tallow butter for my face from a local person because I love the story. I love that beef was raised in this area and she went and got it, and then she made this. I'm actually waiting for someone. I should invite her to our group to release her latest tallow butter. But yeah, Jade, I don't know if you followed her. It's called Riverside Tallow, maybe something like that. Anyway, cool. Thank you guys. I'm going to keep heading into our content. So in week 2, we were talking about our brand design. And I did say like not to make that too much of your emphasis. Really more of your emphasis needs to be on your mission, your story, your niche, your unique value point. But you do need to have a visual part to what you have. So now that we've actually worked on a little bit of that, it's time to take some of the things we worked on and make sure we've got consistency across our social media. So what that means, because you don't want people to have to think any harder. They don't want to be looking at Instagram and wondering if you're the same person that they're following there as they're following on Facebook. So having the same profile picture, having a very similar bio, having the same pinned posts is all going to go a long way. Keeping your username recognizable. So I'm sort of toying with, do I keep Alicia Sayuli on Instagram, or do I call myself Mum with a Side Hustle? So just little things like that. I'm making sure we've got a high quality, really nice image of ourselves. I have to check, Kieran, if you're posting on, Kieran, you are. Kieran's posting on Facebook. She says, I do Facebook and Instagram, but haven't posted in ages. Lost momentum a few years ago with all our house moves. Yeah, absolutely. Started with YouTube, but stopped that too when we moved, as I just didn't have the capacity to keep it up. Yeah, cool. We're going to chat about like scheduling your posts and setting realistic goals soon. So yeah, so taking your bio, you know, and making it on the same places. So being really clear, who do you help? What do you do? Why someone should follow you? Having a cover image. At the moment, my I'm really sorry, those on YouTube, but my cover image doesn't really match my thumbnails. I need to do some transitioning. I've finally chosen my fonts because that's what we talked about in week 2. Yeah, and when I get there, I'm gonna build it into consistency. So yeah, I think having consistent fonts really will help our brand image. And then also if what you're building is quite new, you're going to want to work on a few posts. So Pam actually talked a bit about this. She said they're creating a group for the thing that they're doing. What are we calling it, Pam? Like, how do I refer to what you're doing when you have a second to share, or put it in the chat? Yeah, so building out a few posts so there's some content there if you're starting from scratch. Most of us already have posts on our personal pages, but yeah, if you're creating something new, then you're going to want, I don't know if Pam can hear us. You're going to want to, all I can think is cloud, Pam, because I can see the picture of the cloud that you drew. I think it's dream.ug is actually your website. So yeah, so your action step this week is to go through that checklist, which the mums in this group are going to get, and I can actually do a post this week on a little checklist of where you need to create consistency. So update or create the things that you need. And I do want to encourage you, like, please do your own research as well. You've got all the same tools that I have. You know, we talked about AI and how helpful it is. You've got the internet. You know, if you don't have a lot of time, then running things through AI can help you zoom really fast. And I've used that for a lot of even developing these talks and bringing my ideas together for writing my story. I put post ideas in there and then see how they sound, ask for feedback on the tone. How would that sound to someone? Even down to things like getting great emojis in there. I don't have time to go searching for all those emojis on my keyboard. Like that would literally take me hours, but my AI tool can build all that into a post really quickly. So that's a little, like, letting you in on a secret of how I make, I think some of the posts that I've been doing like in the last month have really, like, I'm really happy with those. So yeah, use the tools that are available to you, whatever you choose. But the biggest thing we need to make a commitment to is consistency. So for Mum with a Side Hustle, it's actually one of the core values I chose. And that's another thing that you will do, is you will write out your core values. So for me, I'm saying I will show up consistently, prioritizing steady progress over short bursts of intensity to build a lasting foundation for my business and my community. So we're going to chat through creating a posting schedule next, and I want you to really ask yourself, what can I commit to realistically? But also taking one step further than you've already taken. So there's no point in setting a goal under your capacity. And you probably need to hear this, because the goal is actually to grow your capacity. And the only way to grow is to push a little bit harder. For example, I have learned from my husband that when you exercise, you actually create micro tears in your muscles. And this is when they repair, this is what makes you stronger. So I'm just encouraging you to don't set a goal that's completely impossible, because then you'll spend all your time failing. But please set a goal that is just a little bit harder than what you think you can definitely achieve. And challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. Hard things are good for your brain. Hard things are good for you. I had this crazy moment I just want to share. I was walking yesterday morning and I was not in the best mood. And this guy biked past me and another man behind him. I don't think they knew each other. And I overheard their conversation. This older gentleman says to the man behind him, my whole life has been hard. And at first I thought, oh, that's pretty negative. And then he said this amazing thing. He said, but it builds character. This is what I heard while I was walking. And I was just like, thank you, God. Thank you that my life is hard right now. Thank you that I'm having this moment, and that you sent these two people to bike down the road to have a crazy ass conversation about how life is hard, but it builds character, because I didn't want it, but I needed that reminder in that moment that life is hard, but it builds character. And so this is one of the main passions that I have in speaking to mums is don't give up, don't stop, don't run away from what is hard, even when inside of you you're just facing that. Please, show up, challenge yourself to grow a little bit more, and just remember that every season things change in your life, right? Not everything stays the same all the time. And as our children grow, their needs change. Sometimes they're more needy, sometimes they're less needy. And so just don't get stuck thinking it's always going to be this way. Yeah, and Karen, like I hear what you were saying before about, like you moved, you had to move, and that kind of pulled you away. And so maybe having some time to reflect, if you've been in a situation like Karen, okay, this is coming up. I've faced this before. I've had to move. I've had to go through a season of pulling back. What am I going to learn from the last time? Because I do think sometimes we are still traumatized a little bit by the negative thing that happened. And so if we haven't actually processed that through and tried to get a lens on the difficulty, that is like, well, I actually did learn something in that season. This is something that Viktor Frankl talks about. What did I learn out of that difficult thing that I couldn't have learned any other way? Or what has happened in my life since that difficult thing happened that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone through the difficult thing? So talk to yourself, like help yourself work through difficult things in the past and try and gain a different perspective, because you will definitely face it again. It's going to happen again. You're going to face something difficult. So yeah. Okay, question before we go into this. Do you guys have a posting schedule or not? And why not? And I'll be straight up, I don't have a clear one, other than I used to sit down on Mondays and make the posts for the week, but I didn't have like an amount of, I have had a few schedules, but I don't have one right now. So anyway, I want to hear, Lisa, Rita, Pam, or Jade, do you have a posting schedule, or have you thought about this? What would you like it to be? Give us some feedback from real mums.
Do I have one? No. Do I want to have one? Yes. What would it be? I'm sure.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, Pam, Share with us your thoughts.
No, I don't. And I mean, I haven't even invited people to our page yet. So I'm not quite there yet. But I've given it a little bit of thought. And because I want it to be engaging, but like high value, hopefully just going to aim for like once a week, like one from me and one from Josh, so that there'll be 2 posts a week at least. But the aim will be that those will be like really good quality. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But maybe I'm also open to sorry, I dropped in and out of this session, so I'm not sure if you gave advice about how frequently we should be posting, but I'm also open to the advice.
Okay. Well, I've got some suggestions, but of course it really depends on you. What about you, Lisa? Do you have a posting schedule or do you want one? What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think I definitely need one. I don't have one. So yeah, any help appreciated.
Cool. Jade, if you have a chance to put in the chat, why don't you tell us what your posting schedule is? You're probably one of the most consistent posters I've seen.
Really?
Yeah, you really are. Oh, you're there.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm trying to put him to sleep, but he's not going, so I'll jump on.
So
Hi.
how do you do your posts?
Yep, I don't have a posting schedule. I feel really bad if I don't post, so I try really hard to post.
So it's like a guilt thing.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll try and post every day, but probably at least 2 a week. Yeah.
And then you also use your story quite a bit too.
Yeah, yep. I find that just way easier.
But you post as well, eh? You do your story and you post?
Yes, yep. Stories every day. That I just work that in with life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actual like static post or like a reel, at least twice a week. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, and
But it's just based off how I feel at the time.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I've tried to schedule, but it's when it comes to that post being done, I'm like, oh, I don't want to say that, and like I end up changing it, and I don't feel like posting that day. Yeah.
I do
But
think that
I used to use
I do think your
AI
mood
and do
actually
like a
plays
whole
well.
monthly schedule.
Oh wow! And how did that work?
Yeah, real good. So on the day I'll be like, oh yeah, that's like the topic
Okay.
for the day. I like put in my pillars.
Yeah.
Yep, and then it was really good. I have
what
a
are
really good
pillars?
prompt if anyone wants it.
Yeah. What are your pillars?
Homeschooling, my online business, mum life, personal development, and family.
Also, those are the way you shape your posts around those topics.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you've used some sort of prompt in AI to create a schedule for you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I asked for like a mix of like carousels, reels, and static posts.
Yeah. What is a carousel?
You know how you like flick through and it reads a story?
Yeah, that's a
Like
carousel.
it's like 5 static posts and you like,
Cool. I need to do some of those. I love
yeah,
those.
they're really popular at the moment.
That's on Instagram, hey?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
What do you do if you've created that on Instagram? Do you just let it post on Facebook?
Yes, but it won't look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you could post it as a story and it would flick through.
And you could probably put your idea into an AI tool and it could tell you what to put on each slide for a carousel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. I like it. Thank you, Jade. You've inspired me.
It's a tricky one though, hey, like with AI, because you also like it's that whole thing of wanting to be authentic, and so like how much do you let it generate the content for you versus building your own content? I don't know. How have you navigated that, Jade?
Yeah, so I will like get it to, make it shorter, make it longer. Can you make it more inspiring? Can you add a call to action? So I'll do it like that, keep working the post until I'm happy with it. And then when I'm happy with it, I then put in my own words. So it's kind of like a guideline. Yeah, because I can tell
That's good.
when people just copy and paste from ChatGPT. Yeah, so I use that as a guideline and then put it my own words. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely go through and I take out anything that sounds not like my voice. But I don't know, Jade, do you notice the more you work with your ChatGPT, it sounds more like you? Because it actually learns the way you
Yeah.
talk. Yeah.
And then the post I end up using, I'll put in there so it gets to
Oh, okay,
scarily
that's a
gets
good
to know me.
idea. Yeah.
Be like, this is what I've gone with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Jade? Because she's got some great value there. Okay, cool. Well, let me just chat with you guys about how often you should post. So depending on how much time you have, of course, and how long you take to create a post. So like some posts are like Pam, you're saying like a high value. So there's a lot going into that post. So you probably aren't going to say, I'm going to do 5 of those a week. But you can sort of, I'll give you a little guide of how many you would do at each level. So if you were kind of at a beginner level, you were just starting out and you wanted to create consistency, just doing 1 to 2 posts a week would actually satisfy that. For me, at the moment, like I only have the capacity for 1 long form call a week. And then what I've tried to do is take that call, take what I've prepared for that call and turn that into my posts. And we're going to go over the different types of posts really soon. So the time I spend building this call is really valuable to me because then I have a lot of content I can rework. And this is where AI can help me speed that up a little bit. Yeah, so beginner level is 1 to 2, growth level is 3 to 4, and advanced is 5+. Now, I've listened to some really great podcasts of people who are smashing it. The amount of posts and stories and emails they suggest is well beyond what I could actually do right now. But I really believe as I build consistency and just like I explained to you, by doing this Zoom call and preparing well for it, it's actually shortened the amount of work that I have to do my posts. So just know that as you keep doing something, you learn better ways to do it. Jade kind of demonstrated that before as well. You know, like she was doing it this way and then she's adapted it and now changed the way she's doing. So that consistency, and I talked about this a lot last year, is really, really important because it's not just showing up, it's actually learning. Your consistency is your learning. Doing these Zoom calls in 2024, like what year are we? I took a moment to remember. Doing these Zoom calls in 2024 taught me so much and it set me up for 2025 and 2026 and 2027. So you're showing up as doing more than building a following. You're showing up as actually improving you, like it's growing you as a business person, as a content producer. So yeah, start small, stay consistent. Posting twice a week is probably what is manageable within a 3-hour limit, especially if the value is quite high of what you're bringing. So there's actually 4 types of content you can post that I've heard a few different variations, but I think the summary I've got here is really, really good. So firstly, I'll go into a bit more detail. So I do suggest writing these down or getting these into your head somewhere. So number 1 is your personal story. So why you do what you do and lessons you're learning. Number 2 is educational or value posts. That's where you add value to people. So teaching something simple and actionable. So like from today, like I could do a personal story about how I've built consistency, right? I've shared that with you guys. I could do a value post about the types of content that you can create, which is what I'm sharing now. So this is where you teach something simple. Number 3 is an engagement post. So you ask a question, you create a poll, or you share a challenge. And some of mine go really well, some of them don't. So I definitely feel like I'm still learning on how to do that. I have had some, the last one is call to action. So personal story, educational value post, engagement, or call to action. And I guess it'll be really interesting, Pam, for you guys doing 1 post each a week. What of those 4 it will be? Will it be one like you and Josh will do a different one each week? Not that you have to follow this, but if you were trying to think through creating engagement, you would want to create different kinds of posts, not just the same all the time. Be curious to think through that. So I'll just share a little bit more details about each of those and some examples. So number one was personal story. So you want to share your why and your lessons learned. So it's stories that connect emotionally with your audience. You're sharing your journey, your struggles, your wins. You want to make your brand relatable. You want people to be able to relate to what you're saying. We have a good friend and he always says, like, people are inspired by your wins, but they can relate to your humanity, your losses, your vulnerability. So that's how you connect with people, is through being vulnerable, being real. Yeah. So for me, I could be saying something like, when I start my side hustle, I felt lost. I actually did a post about this recently. I didn't know how to balance it with my motherhood. Every time I tried to grow online, I got overwhelmed. I didn't actually write this one. I'm just telling you, here's an example. But over time, I realized that success isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things. That's why I started Mum with a Side Hustle, to help other mums find clarity, joy, and systems that actually work. Have you ever felt that way? So that's a personal story that I'm sharing. It could be like a turning point in your business journey, a lesson you've learned, or a behind the scenes moment of like your success or your struggle. So yeah, that's a personal post. Then you've got your educational value, and I've sort of touched on this a little bit. So you're going to be giving tips, a framework, insights that your audience can apply. We all love these posts. So we love it when someone's like, here's how to, what comes up on my feed, look after your gut. That's the sort of thing that I look at. I've followed occasionally people who are buying houses and old houses and making them back into beautiful. And so, sometimes they're cataloging their journey and sometimes they're showing me their budget. So that would come under educational. And what you can do is you can look around at how other people are doing this. And that's been my biggest tool for learning, is looking at my competitors. Where are they most active? Check out where mums in your niche are engaging the most. Choose a platform that you actually enjoy. So that could be a post that I create. I actually could create a post that's like, hey, like, where do you post your content? You could post it where your competitors are, where your niche is, where a platform that you enjoy. There is a value post. And then you could end it with a question. What platform do you focus on now? Engagement post. So this is the idea of this, is to spark conversations and interactions. I have another friend who's really active on social media, and his strategy is to be quite controversial. So, and he really doesn't care what people think of him. So it works quite well for him. I'm not sure I'm just quite at that level yet, but he'll say something really, really bold and he'll get a whole bunch of engagement. And then from that, he has done other posts that draw attention to things that he wants people to notice. So engagement posts are really, really key, because you want that interaction. If people interact with your post, then more people see other posts that you have made. So for example, I did the post on the dreaming. I had a bunch of different comments. I actually had someone post something not in opposition, but could have felt like it was. We interacted, other people interacted, and this person actually has a reasonable following. And so I was like, sweet, thank you that you commented on my post and you didn't agree with what I said, because that actually adds a lot of value to what I'm doing. And we actually went back and forward, and it was a really valuable, I actually really liked what they said. So yeah, I was super thankful. If people comment on your posts, be super thankful. And a really important tip is to interact with them. So love what they've said, ask them another question, ask for people's advice. People love it when you ask for their advice or compliment them. This is a trick my dad actually taught me. When you meet someone, find something to compliment about them, and it's the same on social media. So find a way to affirm or compliment someone and you will get more interaction. So yeah, for example, again, I didn't create this myself, but like, I could do a poll. I've actually done polls like this. What's the hardest part about running a side hustle as a mum? A, finding time to work. B, marketing and getting clients. C, staying consistent. D, knowing what to focus on. I've probably actually done almost exactly that post in the past, and we got some good engagement. And so yeah, I know I need to create some of these every week as part of what I've done. You can even have like ideas like drop an emoji. Like, I think one of the posts I did was like, leave a heart if you want to, if you've got a business that you love, something like that. And then the last type is call to action. So call to action is encouraging people to take action. You want to guide your audience to the next step. So to personal message you, to sign up for your resource, to watch a video. And this is kind of your ask or your offer. That's some other words that you could use it. So for example, I could say something like, want a simple roadmap to building your personal brand step by step. I'm sharing exactly how to do it inside my free guide. Drop a key in the comments and I'll send it to you. And there's a new tool, I haven't looked into it, called ManyChat, and apparently works really well with Instagram. And I have interacted with some posts and got these automatic responses that lead you down the line to getting a resource sent to you. So yeah, the more you put out offers, like you have to put out offers, otherwise you will not be building anything. So Lisa, I'm looking forward to seeing your offer of something to do with getting them to purchase your nut butter, because otherwise there's no point posting. You do want followers, but you need purchases, right? Like you need people to buy the butter. Get the butter. It is good butter. Okay, so how to use the system. You're going to rotate through the 4 types of posts. You want your content to be varied, but be strategic. I love, Jade, how you said what your pillars were. That was really, really cool, and I love those. Maybe you can drop them in the chat and I'll read them out again because I thought that was really cool. Oh, Rita had to go. That is okay, Rita. She was on her lunch break. It was good to have you while you were here, and I know you'll watch the replay. Okay, so from what we've chatted about today, here's your action steps. You're going to choose 2 days a week to post. I've actually heard that this is really powerful as well. If you can choose the days of the week that you're posting and create consistency. Obviously, like this call is pretty consistent on a Thursday, but uploading it to YouTube, I haven't got consistent with yet, but I'm working on it and I'm going to get there. So yeah, choose 2 days that you're going to post. Choose, plan your type of content. Whatever that plan looks like I like, Jade, how you talked about having a flexible plan. Even if you come up with a bunch of ideas and then you choose a few for that week, so then you've got like a whole database of ideas and you're not having to create that content from scratch. Or even if the ideas that you have trigger other ideas that you feel more comfortable posting. So how much time should you spend on each week? If we're looking at 3 hours, here's a little suggestion. Everybody's different, but here's a suggestion for you. So planning and brainstorming, you're going to want 30 minutes for. Creating your content, about an hour and a half if you're looking at 2 posts. And then also scheduling and engaging, so putting your content up, because you can create your content, hold it, and then post it. So you're going to want to spend the rest of your 30 minutes, because that's 3 hours, scheduling and engaging. And we talked about how important engaging was. Engage with the people who've commented on your posts. Yeah, and just remember, before you post, engage with other people's posts, because that helps the algorithm. What's the word? It gives the algorithm the desire, because it's not a person, but it gives the algorithm the desire to promote your work as well. So yeah, I guess, because all social media is about community and about interaction. So yeah, so my question is, if anyone wants to jump in, what would you like to do now you've heard this information? So what ideas have come forward for you? What are you sort of playing with in terms of what am I going to commit to with my posting? So I'd love to hear Lisa, maybe. What are you thinking, Lisa? What's your initial thoughts about your posting plan?
I think this has been quite a full Zoom. Like, I think I'm going to need to watch the recording. But yeah, I think what you said about if I can commit to 2 posts a week, more, as well as the stories, but 2 posts, and just, yeah, book in a day that I'm going to do it. I think that will actually, I do believe I can commit to that. And I think I can build consistency when I know when it's scheduled and what days I'm going to do it. So I'm kind of excited, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. How will you find the time? Like, so for example, like Thursdays, like we have flexibility in our work. So Zeph takes the kids, we've agreed from 11 till this call is finished. Zeph has our kids. And then I have maybe an hour or 2 earlier in the week as well. Like what strategy do you think you'll use to get this time? Is it totally uninterrupted or is it interrupted time? What are you thinking?
I think if I can put aside, like what I did for my last one was actually I did it in the evening, and then you can just schedule when you want it to happen. And I think I'd never done that before. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. So that's the only time I get uninterrupted, in the evening when the kids are in bed. So if I can just set aside my time then in the evening, and then I can just post it when it needs to be posted. That's
cool.
my aim.
And it kind of becomes a non-negotiable, like this is when I'm going to do it, and everything else has to move around the time that I've set for this. Yeah. And I think there's a part of this, I don't know, Pam, where you're at with this, but like there's actually a part of educating others on what you need. I think we're all in different stages on our journey, probably in our relationships, that would play a large part into this. If you've been, majority of your time has been caregiving for children and the household, asking for time for something else or saying this is really, really important is going to be part of your journey. I don't know if anyone can share on that. I mean, oh, Jade's gone. Oh no, Jade's still there. But yeah, Jade or Pam, if there's anything from your journey that you've learned, and how to work that out, I think that would be really valuable for people. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
Yeah, I'm not really sure because even just breaking it down to the time that's required is a bit scary. Because I'm like, uninterrupted time. Like, I want to make the content valuable, so the creation at least needs to happen in uninterrupted time. But our life is so full, so I'm just, even like evenings and every nap time, everything's kind of feels almost fully booked. So it's really going to be a case of, I don't know, juggling. Yeah, but I think the ideal for me if I'm doing a post on my own is like Josh does a bit of sport in some of the evenings, so I would do I'd try to get the girls in bed as early as I can and then get some quiet space while he's out doing sport. So yeah, I'll probably try to do that to start with, but yeah, it is time that's already got lots of demands on it, so yeah.
I totally feel you, and adding one new thing into the picture can be really hard.
Yeah.
I probably need to wind up for today because it's 2 o'clock. The family have just arrived back on the doorstep. But thank you so much, guys, for being here. Listen, if you've made it to the end of the call, I want you to put in the comments, I made it to the end, because it's always fun to see who made it to the end. And I do want to remind you, as I always do, that you have a superpower because of the season you're in. Okay. When we face limits in life, these are invitations to transform ourselves into something else. So whatever you're facing, whether in your parenting or your business or your relationships, there is the potential to become someone even greater than you've ever been before. So let's be women who see challenges and rise. So bless you guys. Please, if you're watching, please let us know. Subscribe if you've made it to the end of this video. You must have loved it enough to subscribe on YouTube. But thank you so much for being here. And yeah, and we'll see you this time next week. Cool. See you guys. Bye.